Hey, Steve Loomis with Walking That Mile. So I don't know if you've noticed, but Dearborn, Michigan is kind of popping off right now. I think all day there's been a anti-Islamophobia or anti-Islamification protest going on by a member of the January 6th group who was pardoned. His name is Jake Lang. So Jake Lang is protesting. He went to the Dearborn City Council and spoke. It's pretty interesting. I did a video not that long ago about the mayor of Dearborn. He went off on a constituent. Constituent is Christian, and went up before the board and said he was concerned about them highlighting some people who are like Hamas sympathizers. One guy in particular, they actually named a road, you know, honorary name. There's still like a official name, highway whatever or something, but honorary name of this guy. Well, this guy's a Hamas sympathizer, and the Christian pastor was concerned about that, was very respectful, just, made his point that he thought that was not a good look for Dearborn. And the mayor went off on him, and I can play that a little bit later on. But what I really wanted to start tonight off with was the Epstein files. They are popping off. Uh, some things have already been released over the last couple of days. A big 23,000 page dump from Epstein's estate was released by the House Oversight Committee. And so in that was the email from, it was Epstein. It's an Epstein email, but an Epstein email that they redacted. They actually redacted Virginia Giuffre's name out of it and highlighted it and said, just labeled it victim. In there they talked about they that this quote unquote victim had spent hours with Donald Trump, and nobody was talking about it. Turns out it was Virginia Giuffre, who is the most outspoken Epstein victim. Unfortunately, she passed away, I believe it was in April of this year, of suicide. And but she had maintained that everything she knew about Donald Trump was that he was respectful. He didn't do anything to her. He was nothing but respectful to her. She didn't know anything about anything that he did that was in any way related to anything that Epstein did. So, of course, the Democrats have been playing this over and over on repeat. Release the Epstein files, release the Epstein files. And of course, for whatever reason, there was some back and forth. Trump got elected partially on the fact that he was going to release the Epstein files. He campaigned on that, and then gets into office, and then there's this, yeah, we're going to release it. And then a couple days later, we have them, we're compiling them, we're just getting it together. Then there's, foot dragging, and then there's the media, the photo op, where they have these binders that say like phase 1 of the Epstein files release, and then they don't get released. And then again, the Democrats just constantly were thinking or saying that they knew Trump was in there, and so that's why the Republicans didn't want them released, and why Trump didn't want them released. Now, I'm very convinced that he is not going to be found out to be in there anywhere. I just did a video on why I think it's no big deal, and why I think Trump actually is just kind of playing with the Democrats. Unfortunately, I don't think that helps our cause on the right. as far as this goes. I think that he likes to play these games a little bit, say that he doesn't want them released to just get the Democrats all riled up and get them talking, and then now they're going to be released. They were just voted. It was just voted on today to have them released, which is what we thought was going to happen, and so sounds like it's going to happen. Uh, the timeline for how much is going to be released when, I don't know that, but the first big news out of today that I saw was that right away today, news release again of 23,000 pages of Epstein documents from his estate, and there's an email in there, and it's an email from 2013, and it's actually from the Democratic fundraising firm Dynamic SRG, which was at the time working with then freshman representative Hakeem Jeffries, obviously Democrat out of New York, who was a huge outspoken person about the Epstein files, released the Epstein files. And so they actually invited Jeffrey Epstein in 2013. Okay, he had pled guilty to, uh, soliciting a underage prostitute back in 2008. So this is 2013, and he served. I mean, he served 13 months in prison. It was a joke. It was 13 months actually on work release, basically. But he served that. He pled guilty. Of course, the guilty plea and the charges and stuff were really shady. They had a bunch of victims apparently, and they allowed him to plead guilty to state charges so that he would avoid any federal charges at that time. Anyway, he pled guilty and spent 13 months in prison for soliciting a minor for sex in 2008. Now, 2013, the Democratic fundraising firm Dynamic SRG, working for Hakeem Jeffries, they invited Jeffrey Epstein to a fundraising dinner where Barack Obama was going to be there. They pitched Jeffries as the quote unquote Brooklyn's Barack and a progressive voice. They explicitly solicit Epstein's involvement in attending the event, even asked Jeffrey if he wanted to meet privately with Hakeem to quote unquote to get to know Hakeem better. And the outreach happened 5 years after Epstein's 2008 Florida conviction for procuring a minor for prostitution. Epstein was a known Democratic donor. At that time, he was facing civil lawsuits from victims alleging abuse as underage girls. And this was brought forward by James Comer, chairman of the House Oversight Action, and highlighted this. The response from Jeffries was, he quotes that, "I have never had a conversation with Jeffrey Epstein, never met him, received no donations from him." And it sounds like that's true. There's no evidence that he even replied to the email or that he did donate. But it's pretty damning that they were reaching out to him. He was a known sexual predator at that time, but he was wealthy, so the Democrats do Democrat things. Even back 2013, they were willing to overlook that if they could get some money from this very rich man. So that was pretty interesting. And the another thing that just recently popped off was the texting scandal. I don't know if I want to call it scandal, but Stacey Plassett, who's a delegate for the U.S. Virgin Islands, in 2019, there was testimony where Michael Cohen was testifying before her, and the Washington Post actually was able to put together, through these files that were released, text messages to a number of people, but specifically her. Now watch this. So there you see on the bottom there, Hakeem. I'm sorry. Let me see the best way to show you this. There you go. So these are text messages from Jeffrey Epstein. Again, this is all compiled by the Washington Post. So the Washington Post compiled this, and so they took the text messages and they played it, and they lined them up with the camera angles from this hearing back February 27, 2019. Jeffrey Epstein died in like August of 2019 in jail, waiting for the trial for federal charges on sex trafficking charges. But I just want you to watch this because this is pretty interesting.
And while we were once driving through a struggling neighborhood in Chicago, he commented that only black people could live that way. Attorney-client privilege, yes, I will turn it over.
You, as my friend Mr. Meadows pointed out, misled this committee even today in a written submission that contradicted your testimony. You have suggested you are going to review that. Did you review? Are you going to review it in our next break?
You see that? She texts Rona to Epstein. She doesn't know who that is. And
Break
then,
to correct the record, yes or no?
Yes.
Question, you helped out the president's campaign or were involved in the campaign as a representative, as a spokesman, even in your words today. It was your idea for the campaign dating back to 2011. Is that accurate, yes or no?
Yes.
Mr. Weisenberg and other individuals, Ms. Rona. Who are those individuals? Are they with the Trump organization?
They
And
are.
are there other people that we should be meeting with?
So Alan Weisselberg is the chief financial officer.
Uh-huh.
The
You got to
Trump
quickly give us
organization.
as many names as you can so we can get to them.
Yes, ma'am.
Is Ms. Rona, what is Ms. Rona's position?
Rona Graff is the Mr. Trump's executive assistant.
And would she be able to corroborate many of the statements that you've made here?
Yes, her office is directly next to his, and she's involved in a lot that went on.
isn't that crazy? That's crazy. That is crazy to me. Jeffrey Epstein, now he hadn't been charged, obviously. He wasn't charged for the he wasn't under federal charges at that time, but he was known. He had been convicted in 2008. He had pled guilty. He had served 13 months, and now he is texting them while they are conducting business to give them information, to help them ask questions. It's just mind-boggling that was going on. So those were the main things about the Epstein files that I know of so far that have come out. And now, just as I was looking at that stuff, I was on X, and I knew that this protest, this anti-Islamification protest, was going on in Dearborn, Michigan. And again, Jake Lang, who is a pardoned J6er, he spearheaded this thing. There's a number of people down there, and it's been going on all day. I think it was today, the 18th. I guess we're in the morning of the 19th, but on the 18th, Sam Rigby was there. Sam Rigby got pepper sprayed. If you ever watched any videos that other people have put on YouTube about Dearborn, Michigan, it's really pretty interesting, and it's pretty scary, I would say, because it's a city that really looks like, and I've never been there, so I don't know firsthand, but it really looks like it is being taken over and then the laws are now, and the rules and everything are being changed, or they're being skirted. Basically, the call to prayer is now blasted over loudspeakers, and I've seen city council meetings where non-Muslims have come forward and said, you guys say that you weren't going to do that. You weren't going to do that before 9 a.m. or whatever the quiet hours, the noise ordinance said. And, the city council president or chair, whatever his title actually is pretty good. I mean, he's a really smooth guy. And he just says, "Oh, yeah, nothing's changed as far as the laws, that's still in place." And then this woman was like, "Yeah, but the call to prayer is being blasted at 6 o'clock in the morning, and you guys said that that wouldn't happen, and it's against the noise ordinance." And it's a tactic that I've seen in lots of different things. They just kind of ignore, like, yeah, we accept that. Yeah, no, but that's against the law. That shouldn't happen. But then they don't do anything about it. And the police force seems to have turned. The police force has been, taken over. They're Muslim, which is fine, except that then they enforce things that the Muslim community, the radical community, I would say, wants enforced. There was a video about a Muslim festival. Some Christians wanted to, they were there to test it and see what happens. They didn't go into the festival. They were just standing outside the festival on the sidewalk, not blocking any entrances or berating people or anything like that. They just wanted to pass out some pamphlets about Jesus Christ and about what they believe. And they were confronted by the police. One guy was videotaping. They told him he needed to shut off his video camera, and according to the guys in the video, they were detained. They weren't charged with anything, but they were detained. I think they were taken somewhere. I'm not really sure what the reasoning they gave for that, because obviously none of that's illegal. Standing on the sidewalk offering pamphlets to talk about your religion isn't illegal. But I think what really brought this to a head, unfortunately for Dearborn, which again, I'm of the opinion that they really are taking over. The Muslim population is taking over, and it's not that they're Muslim, it's that they don't. They bring their culture to the USA, and then they try and change things back to the way that it was done in the countries that they fled. They came here for a reason. They came here fleeing these other countries where things were pretty terrible, and they don't integrate. The people who refuse to integrate are the problem. And then when you get there's no checks and balances there. And so the Dearborn mayor actually is born and raised in the U.S., as far as I know, born and raised in Dearborn, but he's Muslim. And again, this Christian pastor came before them, said he's concerned about things like changing street signs, the names to Hamas sympathizers. They're looking, I think in some areas now Arabic is on street signs and that kind of thing, and Arabic is not our national language. Our national language is English, so it shouldn't be there. That shouldn't be part of the deal. But you should see this here. I'll play this portion of him going off. So that guy steps up and says, "I'm just concerned that we're naming streets after Hamas sympathizers." And this is what the mayor says.
And you are a racist. You are an Islamophobe. And although you live here, I want you to know as mayor, you are not welcome here. And the day you move out of the city will be the day that I launch a parade celebrating the fact that you moved out of the city. Because you are.
Okay.
So-
Mr. Ted Barham. Oh, I'm sorry. So did you?
So fast
Okay, we'll
forward.
get
So
you right
whoever did
after
this
the next person. Okay,
municipal
sir.
minutes.
Mr. Barham?
Barham, Dearborn resident. And I'd like to talk about how two intersections have been named after Mr. Omar Siblani. Oh, I apologize. Okay, start again. I want to talk about how two intersections have been named after Mr. Osama Siblani. I just knew him by his last name. Sorry about that. Okay, and
So again, this is the municipal minutes posted this, but it's the public city council meeting. It's online from the city council. You can get it there too. But they did a nice job of highlighting this, so I do want to give them credit here. But you see, just right away there, they corrected him. You know, okay, the name is wrong. Well, that's not a big deal. We know who you're talking about, so we just wanted to correct that for you. Well, that's fine. I mean, that makes sense. Not a big deal.
so I'm sure he's done a lot of good things for the community, starting the Arab American News. But one thing
Fast
I'm very
forward here.
concerned about, which I think a lot of people in Dearborn would be
Abraham, but your point, you're free to address your point, which I just wanted to make sure you're aware. The sign that was placed in that area is a county road and was done by the Wayne County Executive. It's not under control of the city, Dearborn, the city council. Mayor, is that correct? The sign that was placed is placed on Warren Avenue, which is a county road, and that was done by the county.
Wayne County did it. It's a symbolic placement.
Yeah. The county did it, so they do have, we can get you the list.
Symbolic placement. He said the county did it. So this is the chair. I mean, he's good. Like I said, he's smooth. Whatever his opinions on things, he's very calm. He asked the mayor. The mayor said, "Yeah, it's a symbolic placement." And the other thing that the mayor gets really pissed at is that he was there for the ceremony to
To their meeting,
name
and
it.
you could go there and speak to the county commissioners, but we did not have the authority to overrule that or to suspend it. So I wanted to make sure you knew that.
Here's the other thing I
so the
want to
Wayne
highlight.
Anywhere in the
So he then kind of says things about what he thinks that this Mr. Sablani, whatever, thinks. And again, a city council member steps up or speaks up and says, gets pretty mad. He's like, "Oh, you can't say things that you think he thinks or whatever."
well, this is
I'm
speaking
just
for
gonna,
himself.
I'm gonna stop you because he's not a violent person. And you can interpret his words any way you want, but I will guarantee you, he is not intending to incite violence anywhere in the world.
Thank you,
Well,
Councilman
He could
Abraham.
defend himself if he were here, but
sure.
we're not gonna allow personal attacks in our community.
Okay, well, I mean, I'm just reading his words here.
That's fine, but
They
you're
seem
interpreting
very,
his words after you read them. He did not use the word violence, did he?
well, may I continue the rest of the quote?
Well, if you say you want to read them, you can read them. If you want to interpret and give your own opinion of what he's thinking, that's a different story.
Okay,
I've made many videos about the First Amendment as far as school boards and city councils. This city council member is wrong. He doesn't know. Well, he wants to shut this guy down, so he's going to say whatever he wants because it's personal for them. For this guy, it's personal. He doesn't like to hear this. He's reading direct quotes from him. He's talking about picking up, using rocks or using guns or using bombs or whatever. The whole globalize the intifada and stuff like that. This is this guy who now they've promoted and put him on a symbolic, on a road with a symbolic name, naming it after him. So anyway, it goes on, and then just so that's it for that part there. I have done a video. I've done a full video on that, so you can pull that up if you'd want, if you'd like to see that. But so here is, so that Dearborn mayor went off on this guy, and up until that now, like, there have been YouTube videos about people looking into this, and I would say people who live there have said, some have quoted and said, yeah, I mean, it's bad here. Like, women are spit on if they're not in a hijab, and they celebrated the Twin Towers going down on 9/11 and stuff like that. That's what I've seen people. I've seen people say that who claim that they lived there during that time, and so I've heard reports that it's bad as far as this goes. But when this mayor did this, and this took off, and I happened to see it because mostly how I started this channel was based on the First Amendment. I saw a guy named Nick Blanchard out in Augusta, Maine, get shut down at a school board meeting, and so I started following them and how he got shut down repeatedly. And so that's how I started this. So then I was kind of paying attention to this stuff, and I saw this come across, the Dearborn mayor go at this guy and say that he won. Even though you're a resident, I will celebrate the day, I will throw a parade when you leave. Well, this got national attention. I made a video about it on my small channel, but many people did. It got national news coverage. And so, unfortunately for this mayor, if they wanted to kind of keep this as quiet as they could, as they continued to push this and continue to take over Dearborn, and again, they're not assimilating, which is the problem. They're not assimilating to the U.S. culture. They are trying to push the Sharia law. And I saw a guy before the council kind of make a smart remark about how Sharia apparently actually means law. So he's like, well, when you talk about Sharia law, you say law. But we all know what Sharia law is. It's hijabs. It's beating women if they're not covered up. It's violence towards homosexuals, and honestly, violence towards Christians, and the whole globalize the Intifada, that whole thing. So unfortunately, this mayor, I think, really brought it up to the national spotlight, so much so that people couldn't ignore it. So people like Jake Lang and Mr. Rigby, I'm blanking on his name right now, they couldn't ignore it, and they decided to do something about it. So they had a protest, and here is Jake Lang. I know he goes off a little bit, some swearing. He tells them to get the F out of America, but I wanted to play this too. So this is just what's happening in Dearborn, Michigan right now. Or earlier this evening, whenever the city council meeting was. Oop, hang on. It's 3 minutes long. I mean, he goes the whole time.
You just gotta keep it down.
In 1900, the world was 30% white. Fast forward 125 years, we are down to 7%. The Islamification of Europe is particularly aimed at the destruction of white people. The Islamification of America is aiming to meet the same goal. Our people, white Christian, European, Western civilization, we built the arts. We built the Colosseum. We have ran the world into the industrial age. And now, this people here, the Muslim community, is looking to drag us back. They're looking to oppress women, oppress homosexuals. They're looking to destroy everything that makes America great. President Trump, send ICE into Dearborn. These people have overstayed their visas. They're H-1B chain migration invaders, and they have come to this country to destroy our way of life. We know exactly your laws in your book about lying to our faces, pretending to be Americans, wearing your suits. But that doesn't happen anywhere else where you guys are in charge. There are 53 Muslim majority countries, and in all of them, it is tyranny, destruction, it is shithole living. We have to call it what it is. You guys don't live like we do. We don't want you in our country. We will come and eat your shawarma in Somalia, okay? We don't need it here in Michigan. We don't need it in any part of America. We have a right to self-determination. Damn right. Founding fathers fought and died for our posterity, for white Americans. Amen. And we're being driven out. You come here and you marry 4 or 5 women and you outbreed us. You change the laws. You make all of our country look like the places that you fled from. We don't want you here. Respectfully, get the fuck out of my country. I don't want you here. 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 This is our country. And the people, the veterans, the World War II veterans, that's blood has soaked for our constitutional republic, are taking a look around Europe. They're taking a look around America, and they're saying, what the hell did we fight for? We have been taken over without a single shot fired. You guys are outbreeding, insidious parasites on the American way of life. You will never look like us. You will never eat like us. You won't build buildings like us. You are nothing. You can build nothing. Just like President Trump's great American friends have said. You guys are not us, and get the fuck out. America first, America only. God bless America. Jesus is king. Jesus is king. Jesus is king. Jesus is king.
All right, now they do escort him out. Yeah, I mean, pretty aggressive, but that's how he thought. So I guess they've been doing that all day. They were in the streets protesting, again, the Islamification of the U.S. as far as they were concerned. And I don't know that I hold the exact values or opinions as he just expressed there. But it is concerning when they come to the U.S. and they do not integrate. Okay, we have to. If I were to move to any other country, I would have to figure out what the customs are, and I would have to abide by them, by the customs, by the laws. I couldn't just go there and start changing things because my religion says one thing. You know, I chose to go that country. And so I do think that this is something that needs to be addressed, and it is concerning to watch something like this go down in a place like Dearborn, where it really looked like the police department is being changed. It's like Portland. Obviously, Portland is not the same, but Portland with Antifa, Dearborn with the radical Muslims, radical Islamists. In Portland, you watch video after video of the police doing nothing, and they don't do anything because they're told not to do anything, right? Like and it sucks because I'm a cop, and so you watch somebody on video get assaulted. You watch somebody on video identify, that they were assaulted. They have it on video. They have it in front, and it's, hey, I have it on video that this person just assaulted me, and the police kind of deer in the headlights, and they kind of make something up and they walk away. And it looks like that is happening in Dearborn too. Sam, is it Sam? Sam Rigby? He was pepper sprayed. He was pepper sprayed. This guy, Jake, he was assaulted. He was carrying this big flag that said, end the Islamification of the U.S. And there's a video of somebody walking alongside him, and then all of a sudden, sucker punches him in the face. And I'm sure that nothing happened to that guy either. And that is concerning to me because there clearly is a shift then. There's a change. If the police aren't enforcing the laws on the books, then the laws have changed. The laws are only enforced when it is good for what now is the majority population in that city. So that is scary. So I'm glad this is being brought up. I am glad that they chose to do this, that they chose to bring this and keep this in the national spotlight. And he claimed that there were a lot of people, citizens of Dearborn, who aren't actually citizens, who are visa overstayers. He called it chain immigration, where one person comes and then they bring their whole family, and a lot of them are not here legally. And so maybe that's something we'll see in the near future as far as some crackdown on that. But yeah, so that's popping off right now. I'm guessing I can pull up some new videos from this evening. I bet it got even more heated in Dearborn tonight. So, but that's it for now. Thanks so much, Steve Loomis, walking that mile.